Okay, you can hear, y'all can hear fine outside? It's gonna come through good on the recording and everybody can hear well? Normally, I can hear, kinda hear myself,
Oh
but
my God. Ooh.
couldn't hear myself good, so.
I'm sorry, y'all. You just kind of hit me. Brad didn't bring me the copy this
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was in a hurry myself, and I got here early still.
Yeah.
You didn't take me
Yes,
a
Shane,
few
yours is
from my-
definitely. Marie, you're still on that roll call? We're just like a well-oiled machine. Glenda, you good on that minutes?
Yes.
John, we just gotta find one more standard operating just for you on that. That's all right. You make sure the rest of us do it right, okay? Okay. Quintisha, you got the bill schedule?
I do.
All right, Mr. Black, my understanding is that we are gonna need to reopen that public hearing on the 4310 Main Street structure?
Yes, sir, that's right. And you want me to update you now, or you want me to wait?
Yes,
till-
that'd be good.
And it's not much of an update, I mean, but we're gonna need to bump it again, if that's okay with y'all. You may remember that the other one, the 4302, 4306, y'all adopted a resolution calling for it to be demolished. Chris has been reaching out to a contractor to get it demolished, hadn't been able to get out here just yet. The owner for 4310 Main Street has agreed to tear it down, and has agreed to tear it down at the same time and in coordination with us. So, assuming that happens, eventually we will be able to get rid of the public hearing and take no action. But until then, I would recommend just keep continuing that public hearing on until we get to that point. And the reason you don't want to go ahead and let it go is because if, for whatever reason, they didn't demolish it, you'd have to restart the whole process
Right.
back over.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Just, assuming that there's not gonna be someone from we don't anticipate their attorney or the owner to coming back or anything during the hearing, do we?
We don't, but if Chris, you,
Now, the reason for the holdup is there's a couple. We're trying to get the owner of the one that's going to demolish it on his own and our guy together.
Right,
We want our guy to come in and wipe it all down at one time.
right.
We're kind of waiting on that. And Miss Moore, I didn't bother her much over the last 3 weeks because she's been running for judge. You know, she was running for an election, and
Oh, okay.
she won, by the way. So I assume she'll be trying to get everything wrapped up over the next couple of months anyway. And you know, the way I look at it, it's been that way for years. Another couple of weeks to get it done the way we want it done. I don't.
Well, I mean, we need, since they have adjoining walls, we need to
Yes.
coordinate, so
Yes.
it doesn't make sense to, you'd have a really hard time knocking down the portion you already have authority to knock down without messing up the other guys,
But
so.
he seems to think he seems to think he can do it,
Okay,
but he would rather do both.
okay,
He thinks he can give them a better price than they have.
good, good.
So we're working on that end, where he can come in there a couple of days and wipe that whole thing out.
Great.
Well, it's probably better that they do it at the same time
Yes.
because, you know, you got one guy trying not to mess up the other building, this guy trying not to mess
Yeah.
up that building. Their prices are gonna be differing just because they're trying not to mess
Correct.
up, so,
The oops factor?
yeah, the
Yeah,
oops factor.
Yeah.
That 20% for everything I forgot.
All right, so assuming that no one throws any additional information at us, will there be any objection from the group for me to carry the meeting over?
No.
Okay, so if there isn't, then I'll just plan on opening the meeting and then by my own authority, continuing the meeting over to the next.
and that'll be fine when you get to that point. Yes, sir.
All right, so. All right, we've got a annexation at 3147 Sleepy Hollow Drive. John, is that gonna be you?
Yes, so.
All right. Is there anything that we need to, oh, Chris left. Is there anything we need to know about this annexation? Any questions from anybody about this piece? Bob, Ask Chris, was there anything in particular we needed to know about, do we need to know anything about this annexation on Sleepy Hollow Drive?
No, everything's good. She wanted to come in so we could get garbage service.
We like that, okay? All right. So, any questions for Bob about that? No. They're right in the middle of the neighborhood there, so. All right, we'll talk a bit about the Veterans Day lunch. We got that up on our, I believe, on our social media and on our website, correct, Eric? Mm-hmm. All right, can someone try to get
11
that?
and 2.
Oh, sorry?
11 and 2, were you asking the time?
No, about trying, we'd like to try to get the word out a little bit more here, because we still got some more slots, so.
We have 32 people, that's just the veterans, not counting their.
Yeah, I'd like to get to 50. So, can somebody like get it on the website and like put it out on anybody got any
can do
heavy,
that.
I need a heavy follower here. Has anybody got about 1 million followers here in the area?
I don't have a million.
But you
a
got
lot.
several?
Yeah, I got a lot. I can see about getting it on the, what's happening in
Yeah,
Pinson.
you
Okay,
might.
good. If we can get it on those sites, anybody out there, if we can, because we really would like to have them call City Hall before closing tomorrow. So the thing's on Monday, and they're gonna be setting up tomorrow and all, so. We don't wanna have too few, but we don't wanna have too many tables and stuff set up. Christmas parade, December 6th. Briefly, there's been a little bit of a snafu with the marching band at the high school. I'm still working with Mr. Brandenburg. He's going to be out of town that week, and so we're not sure what happened, but we think there was some type of a lost text message or something here. So he claims he didn't know it was on December the 6th, so, and I believe him. Also believe that we did reach out to him because our staff had reached out to everybody else, and we don't know why that would not have happened, but we all know that sometimes things can get lost in technology. I have spoken with Mr. Turner. He has agreed to provide all the appropriate administrative oversight. Mr. Sanders, the band booster director, he has talked to the band boosters. They would love to be able to help out any way they can. So my hope is that Mr. Brandenburg will entrust his band with some of these other folks, and that we'll still be good for the night of the 6th. We did explore the possibility of changing the date, even though we were probably the first city in the county to pick their date. It is virtually impossible to change the date now because there are so many parades going on, and law enforcement is critical on this thing. If you have questions, you can ask Chris, but every city has to assist the other cities because it's a big deal closing down the road, especially a big highway like what we have. So we don't want to do this with only just a couple of police cars out there. We want to do it with a full contingent. It just doesn't work well, and if we moved it up enough to where it might potentially, we could get law enforcement, it's just too early. It'd be pre Thanksgiving, and people couldn't get the floats together, and it's just, so again, we're hoping, if for whatever reason it doesn't pan out, we do have the Southeastern High School's marching band has asked to participate again. They're going to be in it either way, so we might not be the Marching Indians, but we're hopeful that they will.
It'll be fine.
I think he's going to help us out on that. I'll mention this also, the football team has gotten a private donor to buy turkeys for Thanksgiving, and they're planning on doing a turkey giveaway for folks that are needy and might be in need of one of these turkeys. He just asked whether or not we could promote that. I don't have the date yet there on that. I did tell him that if he wanted to do it here, that he could, but my understanding is they probably want to do it out of the high school. So we'll find out, but just to let y'all know, eventually it probably will end up on the sign and website and stuff like that. And you guys might want to promote it too.
Do we know when it is? Have they set a date yet?
They have not,
Okay.
so I need to find that part out. Not too far before Thanksgiving, so like say, it's not like it's gonna be next week, I don't believe, but but they won't wait until Wednesday, you know, to pass out the turkey, so everybody, they won't be defrosted by then, so that wouldn't work. The new computer server, let's see, Eric, you want me just to explain that a little bit? Eric can jump in if he finds out that I'm not saying this correctly, so, and Brad, we wanted to, you'll probably get a side call also on this. Eric's got a proposal there on the new computer server options. We're asking to, he's investigating exactly what it is that we need to have running on the server. We're not sure if we move the Tyler software. They do a web-based version of the software, which we actually, the staff would like for us to move over to. If they do that, we don't really know if there's anything really running on the server other than our file storage. So we might potentially look at doing a third-party file storage, and then we wouldn't have to spend all the money on the,
Well, we should already have that in OneDrive.
do we have OneDrive?
Yes.
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 Well, then that's
part of those.
potentially what we probably need to do.
The issue
then.
was, VC3 recommended that we replace our secure server that had reached its end of life. It was
It's 10
10,
years old or
12,
something?
14 years old, yeah, something like that. And 2014, so it's 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So when I wasn't gonna get, price it out or get VC3 to replace it. So we looked into having a cloud server instead, so we wouldn't have a physical one here. And when the price came back, it dictated that it was like, $8,000 a year to maintain this. So the question came up, Mr. Roberts asked me what we have running on it. So we don't use it for financial software at all. Now,
We used to, with the old.
we used to, yeah, the old Sage was stored there and that program ran through that server. We don't use that now. Now we need to back it up. We need to save the information, of course. So I have a call tomorrow, a question about, exactly, because Clearwinds has already taken that monitoring over, okay? And we've already converted over to their, I'm sure most of you have been contacted about a Duo. They've tried to get in touch with you, but it's, it's,
app.
because we have a license for O365 for each member. This was Joe's idea. For each council member and the mayor had a license for O365, and so hence you need to fall into our MFA. So that's why they're doing that. Okay. Now, if you're just going to use it for email, it's a shared mailbox, or it's that's not necessary. But if you're going to use O365 for city business or any function, because you have the opportunity to, on your personal computer or on the work computer. So, any event, so I'm going to ask tomorrow, because since they've taken it over, they know what's operating on it. As far as the staff goes, I've talked to Chris, talked to Marie. We've tried to investigate to see what we might have hiding there that we're, and I don't want to I'm not about to compromise our security, you understand that, but $8,000 a year and it was going to cost $15,000 to replace the server physically, and then we still had to have the backup. Mr. Walker, I know you're chomping at the bit here.
Well, I understand what the goal is here, but I would caution, because when you say cloud services, that $8,000 is not the only cost.
Yes.
There are many other things, and when you put data into it, they will charge you for it. When you take data out of it, that's when they hit you. So
Yeah, and that's in
That
that
was in there.
proposal.
It
Yeah,
was,
they
it
had
was
that.
part of it. That's what it's not total. It was like about $800 a month. Let's just say about $800 a month. So it came out to be about $8,000 a year. I'm just throwing you a ballpark.
That included the in and outs.
Yes,
so.
it did.
yeah,
And
all I'm saying is we use those cloud services, and every time you do something, there is a charge.
So, but for just storage, it's not, we can buy more storage and it's really very inexpensive, and as long as we're, I don't want to, we're going to discuss it. I'll get some more information, we'll make sure we dot our i's and cross our t's, because we haven't made any
Yeah.
changes, but when I asked for that pricing, red flag, so, but anyway, that's
I
what that
understand.
whole
Hey, I
point
just
is.
want to make sure
Yes,
that
sir.
was out there, that
Yeah.
that's not the final charge.
Right. No.
Yes, you got it.
I'm not, efficiency-wise, we probably, potentially buying the replacement server will probably be cheaper than the cloud services.
Well, there's still
Potentially. We don't know
there's
for sure.
still monitoring and backing up, because they still have to back that up as
Right.
well and secure that. So and actually, part of the proposal from Clear Winds included that, but it didn't include replacing. And I didn't ask for a hardware replacement. I did not ask for that. So I will ask for that tomorrow too. So just to tell
Just
we
really
got,
need-
you know,
Really need to determine, do we need the server at all?
that's
If we
exactly
don't, then
that's the
there's no reason
question.
to spend the money.
Right. We could,
Right.
we could
That's
save
exactly.
lunch.
Yeah.
Because we're having to set up VPNs and everything else for these people to tunnel into this stuff, and we're like, we don't.
And that's a whole nother
we could
animal.
get
That's
rid
a
of
whole
that.
nother animal.
But it's still, we're doing that because most of them had to have a VPN, so to access that server. So that's when the questions started rising, and when the mayor asked me, I'm like, So further investigation is more warranted. Any input, knowledge that you have is welcome, of course, you know, that's,
Again, that's just
What are
the, as a matter of fact, I don't see any reason, unless y'all want to, I don't really see any reason for me to bring that back up during the meeting, because this is really more for us. We appreciate feedback on that particular thing. All right, next, under old business is the budget on the thing right here. Counselor Walker asked about getting this budget on together. I met with the staff and with Kevin on Monday, and I talked with them about the stuff that I'd mentioned that they're doing as far as the changing the categories around and doing the rearranging and stuff. And at this juncture, they feel like it's okay to have a budget proposal or a budget that they could load in that will not impair their work moving forward. So that was a good first step. So based on that, I thought, well, I would like to put a proposal out for you folks' consideration. And so Marie's printed out a copy here, and I'd like to explain a bit about this, what's going on here. So first thing you'll notice is, and let me say this up front, we're having to do a few things here in order to make sure that we abide by the spirit of the state law, which requires a city, if they do have a budget, to only budget expenditures of 90% of their expected revenues. And so basically, it's my belief, and like I say, I've talked to others about it, Mr. Black, if you want to chime in, you can. It's my belief that the intent of that law was for cities that do not have any reserves or have very minimal reserves, it would allow them basically, or force them to have a rainy day fund, because that way you wouldn't find out your one busted transmission or one leaky roof away from insolvency. So in our case, that's not a problem. So what I've done is here, I've added a new line up here at the top. I've tried to keep this the same layout as what y'all had from the budget worksheet that y'all worked from back during the summer, if you want to do comparisons. I've added a new line right at the top where it says transfer from savings of $400,000, okay? I want you to flip to the, well, before that, go down to the about 3/4 of the way down the page here. That basically is the end of the income portion of this budget proposal, and it's $4,147,660 is the amount of money. That includes the $400,000. If you flip to the back page or the last page, you'll see that we have total expenses of $4,132,599 is the proposed. Did that number work? I'm sorry, it's on the bottom. I said that wrong. It's on page 2 at the bottom for the income, $4,562,000. Down there is actually the subtotal of the total of the income. I apologize, there's not page numbers on here. If you drop it, we can probably put it back together by the account numbers. Then you have the total expenditures, and then I have down here for this difference of $429,934. All right, so basically, see if y'all can follow me here. If you take the 400,000 that we're borrowing, that's the word right there, from the savings account, and you subtract that back out of that 429, then you still have a budget that's in the black, okay? So in other words, we could put the 400,000 back into savings at the end of the year if we wanted to, all right? It also, though, allows for this differential, means that it meets the 10% requirement for the, well, it's close to the 10% requirement, of the law which says we should have 10% reserve on there. So does that make sense as far as to what we're doing?
I'm a little confused about the transfer from savings again. Can you go through that one more time?
No, that's cool. So what we're doing here is, and now that I'm looking at
I guess really more, why are we transferring that from savings?
in order to, so that the total budget, there's a couple of different ways this could be done, but in consulting with the staff and with the auditors and everybody, we came up with this particular idea and said, hey, what about this? So it'd be the clearest, I think it's, even though it's not clear at the moment, clearest example of being able to explain this. So what we're doing is we on paper, at least, transfer in $400,000 into this budget from our savings, okay? Then we go through the year. Now, we know that these numbers, again, you know, are estimates and hopes and everything else. But let's just say that for some strange reason, we take in exactly to the dollar the amount of money that we think we will, and we spend exactly to the dollar what we are budgeting to, for expenditures. At the end of the year, we would still have a difference here, a net positive of almost $430,000, okay? And so if you, then you could, on paper, move the $400,000 back to savings. So in other words, we really didn't spend any savings. We moved the money back. You still have a positive number. The budget is still proposed, is still in the black. And the purpose for that is so that if anyone were to ask, do you have a budget that falls within this 10% rule? Yes, we did. We followed the intent of it. Now, my personal opinion is if you've got the reserves that we do, we don't even need to be doing this. But it does say in the code, if you have a budget, you need to do this particular thing. So this is my proposed way of being able to abide by the spirit of the state code, along with actually having a pretty transparent budget that the staff can use to incorporate it into the software.
So you're essentially counting money that you've already received as revenue for this year.
That's
in
correct.
the budget.
That's correct.
I'm not a fan of that,
Well, it's not really revenue. It is
but you're
transfer.
you're counting it as revenue for
I
the
am.
purpose of reaching your 10% without cutting the budget in appropriate places.
That is correct.
So, not
That-
a fan of that.
Well, unfortunately, that would be one of the ways, would be the most straightforward way of being able to fix the problem, because otherwise we end up having to, I can fix the problem very quickly by going in here where it says local sales tax revenue. Let's talk about that. So you'll see there on that line item, it's set right now at $2.7 million. That was the number that we discussed before we've had that discussion. Last year, we had revenue of $3.5 million, okay? So I could bump that number just to what we received last year and solve the problem too, okay? Actually, it would exceed the problem. And that's a possibility, but I thought for clarity, it might be better to have this number lower because we don't know the full impact of the Winn-Dixie store closing. And so as a result, this number has been lowered down conservatively to help reflect the potential of dramatic impact from the grocery store. But that is another way, if you don't feel comfortable about the move, we could effectively just increase that number to 3.2 million or something like that. 3.1 million even would probably solve the problem, and then remove the transfer from savings there on that. Would that be more acceptable?
I think that's more honest with what we're looking at here. I mean, you're hiding, and hiding's not the right word, you're masking the fact that we need to cut the budget somewhere, because we don't expect our revenue to be as much. That's all, I mean, you're
No,
just putting a
what-
Band-Aid over it, that's it.
No, that's not really true. What I've got here is that the law only allows you to, if you have a budget, now, we're not required to have a budget again.
Right.
If we have a budget, which the staff would like for us to have one, and they do want us to have one for, it does help us on grants and things. Eric's told me before they pretty much won't give you a grant without having a budget attached. We're basically having our hands tied behind our back to say only spend 90% of the money that you bring in. The fact is, it's crazy for us not to be spending the monies that we have, because we're going to look here at the needs here in a minute, all because of this rule, when we have somewhere between 2.5 and $3.1 million sitting in the bank in unrestricted funds. In other words, we far exceed. We have 9 months worth of excess revenue. So in other words, they could turn off our spigot of inflowing money here, and we'd still run for 9 months before we were broke. The auditors recommend they feel good when we're at 3 months. So we're clearly 5 months over 5 or 6 months over the top. So again, it's a bit of a numbers thing here, but it is not a case of trying to move money over and spend more than what we're bringing in. That is not the
Well,
intent.
so if that's the case, if we have, I mean, we're talking, what, we said 400,000 or 500,000 to add back to the revenue?
Correct.
From taxes. So if we
But
did,
potentially as much as $1 million.
yeah, exactly. So, so even if you took that in half and added 500,000 back to the tax revenue, that gets us out of the hole, still matches our 10%, and we don't have to move money. to make
Well,
it
they
look like
really
we're
weren't going to,
within our-
they really weren't going
Yeah.
to physically move
No,
the
no, no,
money,
no.
but
I understand that. We don't have to mask that to make it
No.
look like we're within our 90% range.
we do not. The only negative is that and these new reports are going to be quite nice. I think it's going to be the thing that you guys have always wanted since we moved to the new software. As you look monthly, so when you get the next report, once they've loaded this stuff in, we may potentially look like we're running behind on sales tax revenue. That is possible. And so,
I would expect that this early in the
I
year, yeah.
would too.
okay. But like I say, I'm cool with, there's probably another 3 or 4 ways that we could do this, but I know that y'all wanted, and I think the staff wants a budget, and so hence the process there.
I think adding that $500,000 back to the tax revenue, expected tax revenue, is the
You like that better?
appropriate way to do that.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. That was the first thing that's on here. Let's see, what time? Oh, there are changes on this between the original one and the other one. They're based on things that have happened since we're now 3.5 months into the fiscal year, that reflect changes that have occurred within this. We've had increases in some insurance that we needed to take care of. Let's see, what else was it? There were several different things in here, but nothing, every one of these has been done under consultation of the staff, got review and input from them as far as to what they wanted to have happen on there. Most of these numbers, not most, but probably 90%, 95% of these numbers have not changed. Let's see here. We did do a little rearranging on a couple of things here based on this technology numbers that were in there, and we found a section in there where we think there might have been a hole that needed to be filled, and I would rather have the monies in there rather than us being over budget almost right from the get-go. Again, we will get better feedback. What my hope is that if this is something that meets y'all's approval, is that by the time we get the changes made that the staff wants to do as far as for rearranging, and they're wanting to change some of these categories. They've got a new numbering scheme that they're working on in consultation with the accountant. Once that is completed, that then they could bring it back to us. They will, of course, move these budget numbers into the new accounts as they move them around. Bring those back to us, and that we could then review and do this again. There is one other area in here that's a big deal. It's a big scenario in this, and it has to do, it's something that we had, again, it's not something y'all have to approve. Remember, this is just a budget. This is not, hey, everybody gets to go spend the money. Is here toward the end. Where is it? I seem to have lost my back page. It's on the very back page. If you guys will take a look. The changes are regarding the fire districts. And so originally, the original proposal had Centerpoint and Palmerdale down for $20,000 each, Glenwood at $1,500. And then my proposal on this budget would be is that we increase those numbers to $100,000 each. And then my thoughts were to have a discretionary account similar to the way we do at the schools. So that basically if they had some type of special project or something going on, that they could come back to us and work with it. We could work with them on it, such as a station expansion or maintenance issues that they might have. Chief Horn came by earlier today and met with us, and his proposal was, and he's been in contact with the new chief up in Palmerdale also, was to create 2 separate accounts so that there would not be competition between the 2 departments for the funds. Of course, he also recommended I boost those accounts slightly, so I changed them to $50,000 each there on that. And these discretionary monies would be specifically for maintenance or expansion of the facilities located within the city of Pinson. That's the reason why you do not see a Glenwood Fire District discretionary number either. We were very generous with Glenwood last year, by the way. I think we gave them $11,000 and we gave the other departments got $0. So we're not trying to slight them. They got a big boost last year. So basically then they could come back, submit a bill, hey, we had to put a new roof on, we had to change this out, our air conditioning died. We need to add new additional bay space. I know that's been a conversation out at Palmerdale because they have more vehicles than they can park, I believe. They could come back with their proposal and then we could fund that. That's just a suggestion that I had for you guys as far as for a way potentially for us to move some of these funds into the hands where it's needed. So that's where that came from. Those were the only really big changes that I proposed on here. Like I say, if you were to sit them side by side, you would see a few changes, but again, those have been done in consulting with the staff and by looking at actual events that have been transpiring since the meetings y'all had back in May and June. Are there any questions about this?
No, I think if you add that $500,000 back to the tax revenue and take that 400 from savings off, that covers us for our 10%, and I'm good with everything else.
And again, like I say, it was just, there's different ways you can do things, and this was just one of the ways that I came up with. And like I say, the staff and I were trying to come up with something in there on that thing, but
I mean,
personally, I think that's a great idea too, because I'm not so sure we won't do the 3.2 million.
No, we may not, but
it's a good chance
the thing
we will.
is, we have, as you said, 5 months of reserve.
Yeah, 8 months.
So
8 months.
8 months of reserve, so that's going to cover your $500,000.
Exactly.
If we don't meet it, so.
The other thing is in this printout, you do not see it. I propose no changes from, this is the general fund of the city, which is marked by this code 001. I propose no changes on funds 2 through 12. Those are the funds that we have for designated amounts, such as road tax and all those specialty ones that the law requires us to maintain a separate fund for. I propose no changes on that. We, in general, do not pre-budget on those line items. They usually come up as we see them. I mean, if we had a big project coming up, like we were getting ready to put in a bridge somewhere and we had to kind of prepare, y'all might want to, but at this time, that's not something we really need to do. So if you adopted a budget, it would be for the numbers 2 through 12 would be exactly what you'd already been previously given. Are there any questions, comments, or whatever? And I can make that change, we can make that change very quickly there on the spreadsheet to change the revenue number to $3.2 million and remove the transfer from savings line that I added at the top.
Sounds good to me.
Basically, if you do that, the bottom line number would just pretty much just increase by $100,000. That's what it'll do.
So if we do those changes you've talked about, we're not gonna come up with any more unusual numbers.
Not in the general fund. Now, and this is something we've done in the past, and this continues on, all this has been somewhat educational for me, too, about understanding how this works. This does not include any capital expenses, or very, very little capital expenses. We don't have a capital expense budget. We've apparently never really had one in the past. That would come from the $3 million plus that we have sitting in the bank. I do know that we do have some expenses proposals there. One of them is the one that y'all authorized us to start working on for the repairs at the PHCC. We do know about that. Eric, do you know of any others that right off the top of our head that we're looking right now at things that need to potentially be done? What's that? Oh, yes, the thing that's on our agenda for tonight.
Next on the list.
The copying machine, obviously, on there. So, again, all these type of items that would come up for individual votes in front of the council. Capital expense. Do y'all need more time to look at this budget more carefully, or do y'all want to move it forward? If you do move it forward, the staff will they can begin to load it in immediately, and you will start to get the reports. If you would like to look at it more, that's also fine, and we can tick it back up at the next meeting.
I'm comfortable with the way it looks with the changes we've discussed, if everyone else is, and if.
Would you like to put it
I
on the
will.
table? Okay. All right. We do have the open council position. We did close out those applications Monday evening or Monday afternoon at 4. I sent the information that the clerk had forwarded to you guys a couple of days ago. Madam Clerk, was there any additional applications on Monday?
Have a total of 8.
Okay, 8 is the number I forwarded to the council, so, she scanned all the information, and then y'all were emailed. If someone, John, if you need to get a copy, we'll get you a copy there specifically on that. I did not know y'all's feelings about, sharing these names publicly, or what y'all wanted to do on that. I encourage everyone to interview these folks, and if you try, it would not be proper for 3 people to get together, because then it'd be a quorum, but if you wanted to get together as a group of 2, to speed up the process with some of them, you can. Or individually, phone call, in person, whatever you'd like. I would, again, you can start off.
When he returns to the White House.
Well, I don't think we get any special news there, Madam. So,
Sorry about that.
but I'll take y'all's feedback or what y'all think is appropriate regarding the applicants, so.
I think just having them a couple of days, I think we all probably need a chance to go through them thoroughly.
Oh, yeah. And I'll say this in a minute in the meeting. This has been incredible.
A lot of them.
Interest.
Yeah, it's heavy, so it's going to take a little bit of time here to be able to talk with them. But, no, I meant as far as for would y'all like to just leave it as we've done it, or do y'all feel like the clerk needs to read the names out, or like I say, I'm open to whatever y'all want to do.
I don't have a preference one way or the other.
Clintish, do you? Was your name public before we interviewed you?
No.
Okay, well then, hey, you
So
might,
keep it like that.
okay. Best precedent is the lady here, right here, so. Y'all good with the way it's been given to you now?
Yeah, fine with it.
Okay. Mr. Black, there's no official reason why we would share those names in advance, then,
I mean, it's up to you, whether you are sharing them or not.
Okay.
I mean, I can talk with you more about
Okay.
some other issues that come up with respect to that.
okay, that's cool. You do have a quote for a copying machine. The one we have now is also about, is it 10 or 12 years old? Somewhere in that. Unfortunately, we cannot get any replacement parts, so we're going to need to get a new model. Would someone like to put the copying machine up on there?
I'll do it.
He doesn't, it's time.
Yeah, but we need to set this agenda, so, I hate to run naked here on the thing. We also have, Eric, during the meeting, I will have you come up with regard to the, silt buildup, and you can discuss that a little bit there under the Main Street Bridge. We'll need to get authority for him to be able to begin the process of hauling that off. I will explain more about the Rudd Middle School basketball program. They have asked for assistance with regard to transportation to their away games in the amount of $1,500. That is all the assistance they would require. Like I say, I'll tell you a little bit more about what transpired on that. Is there someone who would like to put that forward?
I'll do that.
Okay. And I'll tell a little bit more about the other issues with the uniforms and all here in just a minute. We also have something that we want you guys to look at. Eric will be able to show us the video and everything when we get to it concerning a protective floor covering for the Rock School complex. So I'm gonna wait unless somebody wants to put that on the table immediately. We actually would like to do some more investigation testing and all on that particular item. We did get some samples in, but they're not large enough to do the full test. We've got to get more samples. I can pass those around here in just a minute. There's one other thing that we left off, and that was, and this came up while I was out of town a couple of weeks ago, and that is that under new business, and that was there is a position open for the mayor pro tem, and so I did not know if someone would like to put a recommendation on the table concerning that. Okay, mayor. Is there anything else before we start, and do we need a break?
I'm good.
Okay, y'all good down here? Good. I apologize for the lateness, but we just did a budget meeting and before here during the work session, and that's something I know everybody's been excited about, so we'll do that. Madam Clerk, while you were away, they have elected to increase the local sales tax revenue number to 3.2 million.
Correct.
And remove the transfer from savings number at the top.
Okay.
So we have the spreadsheets and we'll fix all that for the thing after the meeting. That being said, I believe that I will go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Pinson City Council for November the 7th, 2024. Please rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I believe all of the cellular and electronic devices have already gone off in the pre-council meeting, so I don't have to say anything about that, although mine may not be set. I'll find out. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this evening and for allowing us to be able to be here in this nice city hall. Father, we thank you so much for the city and for the people that live here. We thank you, Father, for the opportunity to raise families, do business, to be able to attend places of worship and be able to go to educational facilities, all the different things that transpire here in our city, and we thank you so much for that. We thank you for the natural beauty that's here, how people have taken care of it in the past to allow us to be able to enjoy it in the future. Father, we ask that you would continue to always guard our first responders, our firemen, our deputy sheriffs, Father, all the folks that are involved in protecting us and taking care of us. We just ask that you would always protect them. Father, be with the faculty, the staff, and the administration at our schools, the students, protect them, Father, from any forces that might be trying to come into their presence also. Father, we ask for wisdom tonight as we discuss the people's business. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May be seated. Madam Clerk, can we have the roll call, please?
Counselor Irvin. Here. Counselor Walker.
Here.
Mayor Roberts.
Here.
Counselor Churchwell.
Here.
Counselor Kirkland.
Here.
Everyone's here. That's great. Next, Ms. Kirkland on the minutes.
Yes, I would like to offer a motion to approve and waive the reading of the minutes for October 17th as written.
Motion's there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions, comments, changes? I'll take that silence as a no. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Minutes are approved as written. Next, on to the committee chair reports. First up is Ms. Irvin on the bills.
Yes, I would like to offer a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $68,702.39.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I think John was barely ahead, but just barely. And that might be the distance between where I'm sitting. It's possible.
There you go.
All right. Are there any particular items that you'd like to point out?
I don't have any particular items, but notes on the original one we got in our email. It had a bond on there for our treasurer. However, her bond has to increase, so it's no longer on this bill.
Okay, okay. That is correct. Because of her additional responsibilities, the amount has to increase, so we'll save that for next time. The large one I see down here is the Civic Plus, and of course, that's our new software system and everything that we're using for reserving rooms and doing the ball teams and everything else, so. If there's no other questions, then all in favor of approving the bill schedule, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So we will pay those bills. At this time, I'm going to open a public hearing regarding an unsafe structure at 4310 Main Street. The public hearing is now open. If there's anyone here that'd like to speak regarding the unsafe structure at that location, please come forward. I don't think there's anyone here, so I'm going to close the I'm not closing the public hearing. I'm actually going to hold over the public hearing until our first meeting in December, unless there's any objection. Do I have to hit that gavel again now after that, or is this, okay? We'll skip that since we're sort of keeping it open anyway, so, but only we talk. Let's see here. We got an update on that particular matter in the pre-council, but basically they are working with the owner to work together with our contractor who is tearing down the building adjacent to this. They have they share a common wall. It will be more cost-effective and certainly safer and less disruption to the street traffic and dust in the area and everything else if they do it all at the same time. So this is certainly a friendly delay in progress. We do want to keep it open, though, just in case they change their mind. We may end up having to take the whole thing on. So, next up is the Veterans Day lunch. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Next up is the ordinance of annexation. John.
Mr. Mayor, we do have a request annexation. This is for Pamela D. Steele. Address is 3147 Sleepy Hollow Drive, Birmingham, Alabama, 35215. And says the owners of the property described herein after have filed a written petition with the city clerk of the city of Pinson stating that they are the owners of the property and requesting that the property be annexed into the city of Pinson. Some more wordage in there, but it's really not, doesn't have to be done. I think this, Bob, if I'm not mistaken, this 3147 is on Highway 75 down close to the dog track down there, isn't it?
The Sleepy Hollow Road?
You can get there that way, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
But we have the map attached there on the thing, although that's,
you can't,
it's not zoomed out enough for me to figure out the back way in, but.
I'm sorry, that's off Winnie Hollow Road, down near where we end. It's the last neighborhood on the left before you go into Clay.
Ah, so this
Oh,
this
okay.
is the one this way, not the
Yes.
similar named one over there on that side.
There
Okay.
is very similar name that you're talking about.
Yeah.
all right. Again, at 3147 Sleepy Hollow Drive, Birmingham, Alabama, name Pamela D. Steele. I recommend this be annexed into the city.
Great, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can we have a motion for unanimous consent to consider, not a motion, but unanimous consent, a vote for that?
Counselor Irvin?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Churchwell?
Yes,
Counselor Kirkland?
Yes.
Okay, so these folks would like to come moving in, and they found out about our fabulous trash service and said, hey, wait a minute, all their neighbors were getting all this great service, and they decided it was a time to come on in too. So again, we have all these nice additions around here. When the trash people are running properly, that's another meeting. Mayor Joe told me, don't talk about trash, it's always a bad night when you do, so I'm not gonna dwell on it. But anyway, I think that would be certainly a nice reason to come into the city. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call vote on this?
Counselor Irvin?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes.
Counselor Churchwell?
yes.
Counselor Kirkland?
Yes.
And we will certainly welcome these folks to Pinson at this time. That ordinance passes unanimously as number 2024-08. Okay. Now that enhancements, for some reason or another, I was thinking enhancements need to go higher. Next Monday, we have Veterans Day, and we're having a very nice annual luncheon that the city of Pinson puts on for our veterans. We've had several folks sign up, but we still have room for more. So I would encourage anyone, if you know a veteran who would like to attend our event, it's going to be really nice. We serve lunch. We're going to have a special guest speaker, Mr. Dean Self, who served in the United States Navy as part of the Navy SEALs during Vietnam. He is going to do a little talk there, and then we were also going to be enjoying the entertainment of Three on a String, the music group. It's a great event. It's going to begin at 11. We say it ends at 2, but that's just for folks basically that hang around for a while. You will certainly be able to leave a lot sooner than that, should you desire. But again, we want to, if you know someone, if you can get the word out, please do, and have them call City Hall, because time is just about run completely out. But again, we really would like to have folks come out. We're going to, I hear we've got some social media influencers in the room, and perhaps they're going to do us a little bit of service on that later this evening, so appreciate it.
It's already done. I did it
Already
for
done.
years. Yeah. It's
Good
already
thing
done.
we've silenced those
There already
electronic
been
devices.
comments.
Ding, ding, ding. Oh, good,
Yeah,
good.
it's working.
Man, that's quick. In the old days, we'd have had to gone out and got a newspaper ad and drove around the city with a megaphone. All right, next is the Christmas Parade, which is going to be on December the 6th, weather permitting, at 6:30 p.m. I just saw Ms. Tanner come in the room. It was her fabulous idea to move these to the evening, and it has been a major hit. We don't know why we weren't doing it before, because the lights really look cool. So we're going to do that again, and we encourage anyone who would like to have a float in there. We've got a form on our website. We need you to fill that out, because again, we kind of have to get things organized on that. But we are encouraging folks to enter that contest and come join us on the parade.
Theme.
Oh, we are looking for judges. Hint, 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 Mr. Black. Did you say judges or prizes? I'm not sure which that was there.
I think he meant both.
You mentioned something about talking to me later, okay? That would be good, okay? We're going to segue very quickly on that.
Mr. Mayor, and the theme.
Oh, yes, the theme this year is Frosty the Snowman. So we look forward to seeing a lot of Frosty this year out there on the floats. Was there anything else about I think we were good on
I
that.
think you covered it.
Stay frosty.
Stay frosty, that's
Any-
right.
oh, any
Hey, who knows,
recommend-
it might actually even be cooler.
Any recommendations for Graham Marshall? Please send those in as well.
Yes, yes, please do. Let's see here. Okay, the Pinson Valley High School football team, they had a challenging year. They got a lot of young players on there. They had a challenging year out on the field. However, these guys are wanting to give back to the community. They've had private funds have come through to purchase a large number of turkeys. They're going to be giving those away, and they asked us to make sure that we get the word out. They have not set the time yet, but it will be before Thanksgiving. Follow our social media and our sign and everything. We'll let everyone know when that's going on. But it's probably the distribution will be at the high school. They got plenty of room up there. So again, we did want to let folks know about that. If you know someone that's needy, cannot afford a turkey, let's try to find out. Maybe we can help these folks get down here and get themselves a turkey. Let's see here. I believe we're now moving on to old business. Mr. Walker.
Yes, we've had a lot of back and forth on our budget. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for getting this prepared for tonight. I think it's overdue, and what you've brought here, I think is, with the changes we've discussed, is appropriate. And I would like to present the 2024-2025 budget as written with the changes discussed for approval tonight.
Okay, is there, excuse me, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All right, so we had an extensive conversation in the pre-council regarding the budget, where we had to go through some items that were on here. But as Mr. Walker explained, we did meet with the staff. There had been some concern about making changes as they are making adjustments as recommended by our accounting staff and the auditors and all, about potentially trying to do that simultaneously. Those concerns have been alleviated after a lot of discussion, a lot of working with the team. So they believe we can go ahead and load these numbers in. I've been informed by the treasurer that she thinks that we're going to be very excited about the presentation of the reports moving forward. Probably, once they get it all fixed, at every council meeting, and you folks will be able to actually see what's going on. And we can begin to monitor these items. My recommendation will be that we load this in, let it run for a little while they're making the adjustments, and when that's completed, we can come back and revisit and see if there's anything in here you guys might want to fine tune at that time. But this gives them the parameters that they need. You may see some of these names change and stuff based on, and definitely you're going to see the account numbers changing, because that's one of the main areas that they want to work on. But this will certainly allow us to be able to move forward, and we will, assuming it passes, officially have a budget here in the city. Any other comments about this?
No, this is an important step, and it's going to go a long way in helping us get grants and other business the city needs to accomplish. So
Good point, good point. Anything down here?
No,
I'm fine.
just good to see it happening.
Sounds great. I appreciate the encouragement and the support of the staff and everything on being able to work through all this stuff. All right, this voice vote is adequate there on this? All right, all in favor of approving this budget, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the budget is now approved. May have lost my agenda here. Let's see here. Next, we do have an open council position. However, our applications window has closed. I'm very excited to report that we have 8 citizens here that are interested in that slot. It's very exciting to see that level of interest here in the city of Pinson. Some of these candidates I know, some I have not had the privilege of meeting yet. I can tell you that it's very exciting, the level of quality of these individuals that are on this, that have put in their name in the hat on this. So again, the council will be conducting their own individual interviews with these folks, coming back and then making a recommendation on that very soon. We're basically don't have a ton of time left before we need to do it, or we'll be having to work with a nice lady that lives in Montgomery, and I don't think we really want to be going down that far to do our business. So anyway, did anyone have anything they wanted to say about that, or I'm just kind of letting everybody know that we're not planning on going with just 5 folks here forever?
in progress.
In progress, that's right. Next is new business. Ms. Kirkland, I believe we've got some issue here with our copying machine.
Yes, I would like to offer a motion for us to purchase a new copy machine.
All right, do you have a specific model that you are going to recommend? I have my recommendation, and that is the one that is the least expensive, because they are virtually identical in specification.
I think I only put in,
They got both of them in the packet, but you only
Yeah,
put
I
the
think I only
one,
put the
okay, all right, that is the one that is the low bidder, so to speak, there on that. These are actually on the state bid list and everything else, so we don't have to do the regular procedure. And it's not that much money anyways, but still, let you guys know we didn't have to go out and negotiate. We called these folks up.
One of them is, purchase price is $6,259, and it's a Xerox C8235H2.
Yes, let me interrupt you right there.
Okay.
So my recommendation is that we only purchase that particular model. Let's see, is that, Eric, is it only included the one, this is the stuff that's inside there? There's 2 line items on this. One of them is for the one for the back, correct?
Correct.
All right.
I had asked for, we had toyed with the idea of putting another one in the back to kind of take some pressure off of that and help Park and Rec and Public Safety, everybody else. But we're going to take that one, the old one, and have it repaired as best we can and move it back there just for a copier. And that will help them out. Won't be as nice. And when things go bad, but he gave me a price for 2.
So
the
the-
second one, wipe it off, the 3,000, because it's a very base model, doesn't have the hole punch, the different drawers for the different size pages and things like that, so.
So the one we have still works, but the copy quality is beginning to deteriorate. So it might be fine for like bulk pamphlets and things like that, but it's not working very good for sending out official letters and that sort of thing. So again, the parts, it's over 10 years old, the parts are hard to come by. We do have some supplies still for that model.
Yes,
So
and
that was the reason why
The toner's spewing out the back too, and
I've got to get some more duct tape.
getting nervous,
Got to get some more duct tape, folks. Hey, it might last to the next meeting. It might last 2 more years. We really don't know. So,
Well, one of them's double the price, so I'm sure it does.
Yeah, what, like I say, the one we were recommending for the back, the old one we have, assuming it holds together, does much more than this, the lower priced one here does. It's a fancier copier.
So,
So I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
Only the
that's-
top line's the only
yeah,
one we need.
because that's more compatible with what we have now. It does more.
The
6,000, yeah.
6259 is very similar to
It's
the one.
exactly like that, but the newer model, the
Right.
newest thing. It also has the new security features. We did get a bid from Kyocera, and theirs was about $1,100 higher for the same exact thing that you see there for Xerox. So this recommendation you get is coming from us. This is the lowest price and the best model. So-
Right. I would like to make a motion for us to purchase the one that's $6,259.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second on the copying machine. So, we may, like I say, we may be coming back and asking for the second one soon, but we're gonna get our money's worth out of the one we have back there for a little while longer, so that's the game. Again, I was saying, we actually still have some supplies also. I don't know if we have enough to make up for spewing, but, but we do have some supplies, so we can use those up. So, that'd be, kind of save a little money there. Any other questions about the copy machine? Y'all did get, we did include in the packet, I believe, the
We
other
did,
model
I
and
just
all. so
didn't have it with me, in
Okay.
front of me.
All in favor of approving that motion for the copier, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So we can go ahead and get that new copier online. Eric, I'm going to ask you to come, oh, sorry, I was looking to the back. Let you come forward and talk a little bit about the silt removal down there on the creek that runs underneath Main Street.
So, you know, we've in the past used a company to haul or actually dig it out. So we bought a skid steer like a year or so ago, and so we're able to do most of that work ourselves. And what we needed was, what I wasn't sure of is whether we could haul the silt out, move it, transport it. So I had arranged, got a company to come help us. But in the meantime, our resourceful Public Works Department has used some of these repurposed. We had a grapple truck that we had purchased years back during the tornado that went through Clay. If you remember, we bought one to help them, and then they returned it to us. Well, the grapple portion was condemned. We had it removed and turned into a dump truck, a big one. We can only haul so much, but so we're moving it now. And they actually started today, so they should have they should get near Main Street done in a few days. I told them not to push themselves. We don't want to keep it nice and clean, and we have to have places to dispose of it, and we do have places to dispose of it. So the purpose of asking this motion, this being on the agenda, was to appropriate some money for that company to haul it. For now, we're going to put that on hold because we're able to do that ourselves and everything. So we're just going to keep it there for a moment. Until I need your assistance again, then we'll just continue on with what we're doing. If we've got the resources, I think we should utilize them. And we're not going to go crazy, you know, but if I have to come back, I will. I promise. So, but I would like to use what we have, so.
That's fantastic, Eric. So, again, like I say, this might be the first quote for silt removal with a $0 that we've had in a while, so we're excited about that. But there has been some concern or questions asked about, again, this is one way we were able to pay for the skid steer machine, was because it's pretty expensive to have all that cleared down there. As we learned during our hydrology study, that is about the lowest point in the city of Pinson, so things tend to settle right there. And if we get a really heavy rain, then it could potentially cause issues and close the road and stuff. So they'll have that cleared on out, and that should help mitigate that situation. So.
Now, when I had the company come out last year to give us a price, you know, to estimate that, to try to line that up, maybe it's been 2 years, because I think last fall we were pretty wet. And that's why they couldn't do it. I did have them assess whether we could take out not the train trestle, but in between the uprights. And engineer okayed all that because, face it, there's not going to be a train that goes back over it. But we don't have the equipment to take that out. pretty dense.
Pylon there.
Yeah, well, not the pylon. Now, we're gonna leave the uprights. It's the, you know, the railroad pours a huge bed across there, 'cause of course, it's got to hold, you know, hold up tons. So,
It's the center support.
the center, it's actually the space between the supports.
Okay.
Okay, so they had a nice foundation across there. It's probably about whatever the width of that trestle is, 20
Okay.
feet, you know, by 20 feet wide, whatever it may be. So we had the intentions of taking that out so that the silt wouldn't back up right there, and it would help mitigate that. We can't go any farther because there's other mitigating circumstances past that with the water line and things like that. So, but that would have helped allow that to not back up so quickly there. But again, that's a future project, so we're not gonna, that'll take some appropriated money. We come back for that one.
I can use some of that hauler cash that we just saved. Great, Eric, appreciate that. All right, next is about the Rudd Middle School basketball program. And so, Mr. Walker, if you'll, let me give a little preview here about where we're at, and I'll let you do it. So at the last meeting, I think I mentioned that our Rudd girls basketball team was in a bit of a bind. We don't know what happened. Actually, it happened to both the girls and the boys team. The uniforms and all their equipment came up missing. And so basically they had no way to be able to practice or play games or anything. So the principal and the new women's basketball coach reached out to us to ask whether or not we might be able to grant some assistance. Their original request was for about $6,500 to pay for these uniforms and equipment. I got Mr. Terry to come in and take a look at this and get with the coach to see whether or not we could potentially get uniforms, maybe not the elite brand type thing that they had originally proposed, but something else that would work. They were very pleased with those options. I then reached out to Dr. Goslin and just to let him know what had happened to the girls up there and the boys teams. He was very alarmed. He did not like the fact that the girls had lost their equipment and that this had happened. He had Mr. Canaday, the athletic director for the county, step in, get involved, and they immediately said that they were going to take care of this financial aspect of this particular problem. So we passed along the information that Mr. Terry had put together for us. They were extremely appreciative, said, hey, you guys have saved us several $1,000s. And of course, we're appreciative because they're taking care of the ladies. They've already ordered those, they're on their way. And the girls were able to borrow uniforms. I don't know what team they were from, but if you happen to see pictures of the Rudd Lady Indians playing basketball and they're wearing another school's uniforms, you'll know now what happened. But basically, we were glad we were able to assist them in being able to get past this problem. However, they still do have a portion of that assistance that they still want to ask us for, and I believe that's Mr. Walker.
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we provide an amount of $1,500 to the girls' basketball team for transportation.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second on that, so, again, these girls were kind of put behind the 8 ball with regard to fundraising and everything else. They lost their coach 1 month into the school year. It's been a mad scramble down there, so, anyway, seems like a reasonable request. This would come out of our educational discretionary funding, so. Any other questions?
No?
Go Indians. That's it. All right, so all in favor of approving this request for the Rudd Middle School girls basketball program, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'll make sure that we let the principal and the coach know, and they can get those buses loaded up for those road games.
Raise your spear, ladies.
That's right. That's it. All right, next up, again, Eric, can you come back forward again, perhaps? I don't know if you can take over the screen. I don't know exactly how this works. You're working on that now? Great. All right, so as y'all know, we've spent a very large amount of money $600,000, $700,000, whatever, doing a lot of remodeling over at the Rock School Complex. That was one of Mayor Joe's last big projects that he wanted to have completed. It is extremely beautiful. Many people have commented on it. Folks got to come in. We just recently had the election this Tuesday. Folks got to come in. If anybody had missed it during the early voting, they only came out for the general election, or they recently moved in. They got to see it firsthand there Tuesday. What we've noticed is that we've got it so nice with the carpeting and everything over there that it limits some activities that we might not feel super comfortable in hosting. And I want the council to work on, this is something we're going to need to develop, some policies and rules that you guys want to put in place as far as for the appropriate rental activities that we would have over there. Obviously, it's something that we spent a lot of the ARPA funds on, and it's something that, the people can enjoy for many years to come. We want to take care of it. And obviously, especially with regard to younger children and spaghetti suppers or taco dinners and that sort of thing might not be the world's greatest thing for our new carpets. So what we did was, or what Eric did was, is for the Boo Bash that we had just a couple of weeks ago, in conjunction with that and the election that just took place this week, he was able to get us some protective covering that the staff was able to roll out onto the carpet, which worked very nicely over there and protect it just in case. We didn't know whether or not it might be raining, especially on the election day, and it did rain, so it was really good that they did that, rained in the morning, to keep the carpet from getting messed up. The Park and Recreation staff came to me and they said, hey, look, they were the ones that put it down. We've seen some other product before that could be very efficient, that would allow us to be able to roll this out and be able to, and you'll get to see it in the video in just a moment, be able to roll this out in order to protect the floor. And so it might allow us to be able to expand the opportunities for usage of the building should we decide to make an investment in this. Now, the way it's designed is that it's and I've got the samples up here. We're going to get some more samples, but after the meeting, I'll let you folks look. It's basically a waterproof and a thick fabric, plastic coated fabric, waterproof fabric that goes out, and it goes on these large rollers on the stand, and that stand then can be, once they're rolled up, it can be rolled and stored in the room with our tables and chairs. On days when we don't need it, then we wouldn't have to worry about that. But as you can see there from the videos, from that video, you can see a little bit about how it goes out on the floors. We want to do some testing on it to make sure that it will work good with a carpeted surface. These are usually used on wood floors, where you're trying to keep from messing up the hardwood. However, our carpet is such of a low pile that we believe that this, if we get something that's thick enough, should be no issue. Matter of fact, I even tested the other was holding up very well over there, and it was extremely thin compared to this. But this is going to be a recommendation that I'd make to the council, that we look at investing in this particular capital expense project, because I think this would certainly last quite a while should we decide to make that purchase. But we do want to do a little bit more investigation first, just to test it out a little bit more. They have various colors. My recommendation is probably going to be for the thickest. It's not a great deal of difference in the price between the thinnest that they sell and the thickest. The price ranges from $8,000 to $10,000, including all the roller equipment, the taping, the rolls of tape that can hold down the seams and everything, along with the product itself. My recommendation is going to be, unless we find out the weight's just too big of a factor, is going to be probably to go with the thickest material. The thickest has less color options available. One of the colors would have probably just been fantastic, but unfortunately that's one that's not available in the thicker color. But I've got some samples of the colors that the staff thought we wanted to look at first, and I'll share those along with you guys in just a little while. Any questions, comments, thoughts on something like this?
No, I'm excited in you guys checking it out and testing it to see if it would work. It's better than what we did the other day for the Boo Bash. How many hours did it take us to put all that plastic
I
back?
did not ask them, but I do know it was, and I'm not saying this will be ultra fast either. I mean, it's still a lot of work there on that, but it is reusable, so we wouldn't have to buy it again, and looks nice. And
Right.
I'm familiar with this at a place that I go to, and one of the staff members, they've got it at the college that he attends. They're using the same stuff, and like I say, it's very popular.
They have it over a carpet or floors? Wood floors?
It's on wood floors in the ones that we've seen.
Right. Yeah, I'm interested to see how it works on carpet.
Me too.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. All right, next is a motion from Ms. Kirkland concerning the position of the mayor pro tem. Obviously, I had that position previously and kind of slipped up on me here until I was out of town the other day, and I said, wait a minute, we don't have a slot here, so
Yes.
that is open. So, sorry.
I would like to offer a motion to nominate John Churchwell as the mayor pro tem.
Is there a second? So, at this time, I would like to step back from the gavel and turn that over to Mr. Churchwell. Mr. Churchwell, I'm going to let you run the meeting for a moment. And I would like to second the motion for Mr. Churchwell.
Okay, you heard the motion and second, and I don't feel comfortable doing this.
Well, I'll call the vote. I just wanted to be to do the second there on that to make sure. I think we're good. All in favor of this, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no.
No.
All right, I believe the ayes have it. So Mr. Churchill will be the mayor pro tem. Mr. Churchwell has served in this position in the past. He did this, I believe, early on. John, was it you were the very first mayor pro tem here? Served at that time, and then more recently did it even under my tenure here on the council. And certainly, John is a extremely valuable member of the community and knows these rules and stuff very well around here. He and I have contact quite regularly to let him know what's been going on. He also is retired. I guess you've been retired a couple of years, haven't you, John?
Supposed to have been.
I'll ask Marie later if how that's going. He's in the community, let's put it that way, and so he's readily available to be able to assist in these areas, which is always very nice. So I appreciate your willingness to serve in that role, John, on that. Next is department heads. Do any department heads have anything they would like to say? There is a budget in place. I don't know if anybody came in after that, but I see a department head coming forward. You did notice me slip in that Boo Bash a while ago, didn't you?
Yes, that's actually what I'm here to talk about. I'm Allison Scanlon, Director of Pinson Public Library, and I just wanted to give you all an update. We did have our fourth annual Boo Bash on October 25th, and we had 924 people attend that event.
Wow.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's good.
So we're very excited. We tend to run between 800 and 1,000, so we were very happy with the turnout. Everything went super smooth. Everything was really quick. We're thankful to all of our community partners who were there giving out treats and playing games with the kids. And also shout out to Parks and Rec, who helps us with that program every year and everything that they did with it. And it was just another wonderful year. We're happy to be able to provide that to the community.
Ms. Kirkland, I'll let you go first.
Pardon?
I know you were there.
Oh, I was, and it was great. I was gonna say, Robbie and I were two of the 900 and something.
Yes.
Did you count us, or did we subtract from the number? I'm not sure.
It was great, it really was. And it was run so smooth, but it seemed like all the kids enjoyed it. So safe too for them.
Yes.
It was very, very exciting, and I'm glad that it worked out well. I appreciate Eric and the staff being able to get the covering down. To say that Mr. Churchwell and I were nervous about the potential of someone diving into their candy bag and beginning to eat and drop it on our floors was a high concern. That was not an issue, which turned out really nice. But, there was families that showed up, the entire families. They had a theme throughout the whole family going on over there.
costumes,
So
yes.
it was really a nice setup on there, and they really seemed to have a lot of fun at it. So they had games and activities, and local businesses participated, one of the local
Businesses and-
churches.
Yeah, community organizations and businesses and churches. And then our teen advisory board, they also have their own section where they decorate, and they were there, they worked all week on it, but they were there at 8:45 a.m. on Friday and did not leave until we all left at like 8:30 p.m. So all of those teen volunteers were there working just as hard, and we really appreciate them as well.
Miss Glenda and I got to meet some of those teen advisory board members, and that was a lot of fun, get to see them running around. There was a lot of changes in hair color and hairstyles among the staff, which really had me confused there for a bit. Part of their costumes, the staff all gets in the costumes and everything, and I don't know what it was, but I think everybody chose a different color from their norm to
Yes.
totally blow the mayor's minds. But it was a lot of fun over there. So we appreciate y'all doing that.
Yep, thank you. That's it.
Do we have another big event like that on the horizon, or
Not quite as big as Boo Bash, but we do have Ninja November coming up on the 23rd from 1 until 3. That's a Saturday. We're going to have a ninja obstacle course and crafts and hopefully a food truck and lots of other fun stuff, and that'll be in the library.
Great, great. I think there was a food truck there the other day at the Boo Bash.
Yes, at Boo
too.
Bash, yeah, we had 3.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's good. Thanks.
Thank you.
All other department heads have tried to change their gaze, so I'm going to take that they're all good. They've seen me enough for the last, well, since I got sworn in, they've seen more of me than they probably ever wanted to see, so we're good with that. Next.
Yeah, but you guys are getting a lot accomplished. You guys have. I think that's great.
Thanks, appreciate that. In spite of me, so that's.
Right.
Okay. Public comment. I don't know if there's anyone here from the public that would like to speak, but if you do, this would be your opportunity. And if not, we're gonna wrap the meeting on up.
I have something.
Oh, okay. You're public, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it was more of a public thing. If you don't know, the elementary school is doing a Domino's Pizza fundraiser. If you know a kid, please support. It's going to be for, the PTA is doing it, and it's for teachers and students, so please support.
I'm just gonna tell you, this is not, I'm not instructing anybody what to do. I will just tell you what I've done, and that is, once I saw this offer, I said, this is fantastic, so you would be wise to check it out. Find someone that's at all the students at the elementary are doing it, or?
Yes, all the students are doing it. My daughter is also doing it, but that's not a plug. But yes.
She's a student.
All of the students are doing it.
So find someone in your neighborhood or kinfolk that have someone at the elementary school and tell them you want to know about the Domino's pizza card, because it's a really nice deal. And it helps the kids out a lot, and it's very reasonable, so. And that was as a public citizen, so.
Yes, it was.
That's right. Making sure we're covering that, Mr. Black. Okay, so I think we're good on that. Mr. Black, did you have anything that you need to share with the group? We haven't worked you as hard as we normally do.
I know, this has been kind of a light, the city attorney. No, sir, I don't have anything.
We appreciate that, so. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.